20 years after the Indian Ocean tsunami, there's still some places of that area that are still recovering. So that's definitely something going on as well. And China unveils the world's largest amphibious warship. So China's Monster Type 076 amphibious assault ship is seen like never before at its launch. So they have launched a new massive ship and everything like that. And Biden is pledging more U.S. arms to Ukraine after Russia's Christmas attack. So Putin is inhumane, is what Zelensky says, as Russia pounds Ukraine power grid on Christmas Day. So definitely that was something else that was going on over the holidays. And 6,000 inmates escaped from a high security prison in Mozambique amid some of the unrest that is going on in that country. So imagine what that would be like if you had 6,000 prisoners on the loose. And I think that there have been some other cases in other countries where that has happened as well. And Pope opens the Holy Door at prison in Italy. So Pope Francis kicks off Holy Year at Vatican with over 32 million visitors expected. So Pope Francis opens the Holy Door, inaugurating the 2025 Jubilee. So definitely that's something else we're seeing as well. And Russia warns the United States against possible nuclear testing under Trump. So definitely that's something else that we're seeing as well. And Chinese students in the U.S. are warned to stay put ahead of the second Trump term. So international students have been alerted to come back to the U.S. before Donald Trump's return. So we might be seeing some of these students coming back sooner versus later and all along those lines. So like I said, there's a lot going on in the world and in world news and in that space. It looks like the 2028 Democratic primary is already underway as folks are trying to figure out who will be the nominee in 2028. And there's even some folks like at the National Review that are saying Kamala Harris will not be the Democratic nominee in 28. And some people are wondering what's next for her, whether it'll be a opportunity to go to the governorship of California or what will happen in that space. And there's a report in the Washington Post about a MAGA civil war on X between Musk and the far right over H-1B visa. So Ramaswamy blames U.S. mediocrity culture for tech companies hiring foreign born engineers. So definitely it looks like there's a lot of uproar going on in that space as well. So definitely even the H-1B visas and foreign workers are getting some pushback as well. And powerful thunderstorms is threatening Texas and Louisiana, delaying some of the holiday travel and all in that space. And Panama's president calls Trump's Chinese canal claims nonsense. So Trump wants U.S. control of the Panama Canal, and definitely we'll see how this all works out. Because I know he's mentioned Greenland, he mentioned Panama, and he's mentioned a couple of other places, including Canada, that he would like to have, and all in that space. And in New York, end of the year approvals and vetoes, Governor Huckle has vetoed Grieving Families Act and everything like that. So Huckle signs a bill that will also charge oil and gas firms $75 billion, but critics say customers will really foot the bill. So definitely that's something that's going on as well, as New York signed a climate law that would fine fossil fuel companies $75 billion. So definitely that's something that we're seeing as well. And go to hell, Trump tells inmates with commuted sentences in Christmas Day message. So Trump vows to pursue executions after Biden commutes most of the federal deaths now. So family and police have reacted to Biden commuting the death sentences to the Ohio cop killer and everything like that. So we'll see whether those computations stay in place or not. And Trump's incoming border czar has detailed plans to track down undocumented minors. So Trump's border czar says family detention centers could play a role in the deportation effort. So that's something we're seeing in the news as well. And of course, there's still folks that are investigating what went on in the New York City subway fire. And of course, the woman burned to death on the New York subway, still unidentified after 5 days. And the suspect in the fatal burning of the woman is to have a court hearing as he is facing charges as well. So lots going on, including the Freedom Caucus chair. House GOP needs to consider if current leadership is what it wants or what's going on in the leadership of the House as well. So definitely lots going on, including a shooting that wounded 2 at a Phoenix airport. One other was stabbed, according to what police reports say, and all along those lines. So I'm going to bring in my folks and all along those lines, see what they've got to say about a number of these stories and see who we've got with us and everything like that. I know that I've got Dr. Sharif that I mentioned Malaysia earlier, so I'm gonna find out what's going on in his part of the world and everything. And I've got Nick Balveda, and we've also got Lee Newton Rhodes in the background as well. So I'm gonna bring in. Oh, we've got Rick Rosner as well. So we're gonna bring everybody in and see what folks have got to say about a number of these stories and just what's going on in the world in general. But it does look like the year is ending with as much turmoil as it started with. So, what's your take and everything like that, Sharif? How are things going with you? And oh, by the way, Nick, you'll be glad to know because I thought it was already the case, but the bald eagle is officially the national bird of the United States. So it says the bald eagle officially named national bird and everything like that. And I've even seen bald eagles sometimes here in uh, the Carolinas and everything. But Biden signed 50 bills into law on Christmas Eve, and apparently one of those bills was to officially make the bald eagle the national bird of the U.S. So I thought it was already the national bird. And another story that you've been talking about a lot the last couple of days is the Senate approved a bill to expand Social Security to millions of Americans. So they're asking, are you one of 2.8 million Americans who could benefit from the Social Security changes and all along those lines? So it does look like there have been some changes in that space.
Yeah. Well, we should hear from Dr. Sharif and see what's going on
Yes.
in his world. He runs
Yeah.
the World Talent Economics Forum, which is
Yeah.
broadcast all over the world and also broadcast on the Pod TV network. So tell us a little bit about what's going on over there, Sharif.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I want to give you thanks to give me the opportunities, and talent economy now is everywhere. I just want to share some good news, that Bangladesh become country of the year according to Economist. What is the reason behind that? Behind the scenario, actually, what I'm trying to do last 5 years about the youth voice, about the young people voice through the talent economy. I always say that young people and the youth populations actually the futures for emerging economy, future for global north. And my target was I want to engage with 100 million people in emerging economy through my World Talent Economic Forum. So you see the political dimensions and political strategy, everything through changed because of the young people of Bangladesh, the students in Bangladesh. They said that no more corruptions, no more dictatorships. We want a new political uh, uh, strategy for Bangladesh. And because of that, around 2,000 people, 2,000 students died. But after that, we formed the new government with Dr. Mohammad Yunus. Dr. Mohammad Yunus, he's a Nobel laureate and he is the innovator for uh, microfinance. This is also very successful model for many countries in emerging economy. Also in USA, I see that microfinance also utilizing from California and everything. So that is the beauty of talent economy. So that is one thing. And beside that, from my research center, we are doing a lot of research and publication. Recently, I am just publishing papers and book on technocracy, what actually this Pod TV is doing. Secondly, that agriculture is another innovative things for emerging economy. And Bangladesh has a lot of innovations, around 3,500 innovations. So last 7 years, I'm doing research on Bangladesh agriculture, and I already published this book. What is the good point? After publishing this research and innovations, all of the policymakers, politicians, think tank, financial institutions like Islamic Bank or climate finance institutions, and many of the organizations collaborate with us. And we are launching a conference on artificial intelligence and digital entrepreneurships. And definitely Pod TV can be our partners. And we are bringing all of the famous people from around the world this coming June. And definitely we can invite as a keynote speaker to Nick Palveda in Bangladesh, and all other speakers from Pod TV. You can visit Bangladesh. And that is the things like Global South can collaborate with Global North, and Pod TV can play a major uh, like media role for these things. And we never know, maybe you can win Nobel Prize to help this emerging economy. Thank you.
Quick question for you and Nick and even Rick and everything. But yesterday, as part of the Kwanzaa celebration, we had a seminar and a panel. I might even try to air it on the network and everything. But it was about leadership and the intergenerational divide and everything. So I'm just wondering, in your own opinions, how much are we having an issue with the different generations and not necessarily talking to each other and actually respecting each other? Because that's part of what the panel was the intergenerational divide and how sometimes we don't honor as much the young voice, and sometimes we don't. There's even gatekeepers that sometimes block what they are doing and everything. So I just wanted y'all's take on this whole conversation of intergenerational divide, and if it's a global problem.
So when I was a kid, teens were pissed at adults because adults were sending them off to fight and die in Vietnam.
Right.
Now, younger generations are pissed at people my age because we have all the money and because we, did kind of effed up the environment. So yeah, there's though it's a different divide in that everybody has access to the same media. Everybody knows who Justin Bieber is. In the 60s, there was a generation gap because just older people didn't understand what younger people were into. Now everybody sees the same thing. Everybody sees the same Mu Deng, the world's most adorable baby hippo. But there's still a lot of pissed offness.
Definitely that and everything. So I was just curious, what's your take on that, Nick? You moved to another country. How are they treating the young people in the other parts of the world, namely Spain?
Oh, they seem to get along fine, but this is a very family-oriented country. So it's a pretty safe country. And interesting thing about Spain, they stayed out of World War I and they stayed out of World War II. They were very neutral. And the only problem is they had their own little civil war, which didn't work out too well. I think the real problem you have with countries around the world is they get involved in these things called wars, and wars don't seem to benefit anybody. I've yet to figure out how anybody said, oh, we won a war or we lost a war. It looks like anyone who gets involved in a war loses. The only question is how much do they lose? Which gets me back to Dr. Sharif in Bangladesh. How safe is it over in Bangladesh? Is it safe for us Americans to come over, since I'm closer to you now? I live in Spain.
Yeah. Oh, I want to say definitely, why not? Definitely, we want to invite more Americans and we invite more American friends in Bangladesh. Already, I think your friend, home stoner, visit Bangladesh, but right now he's sick. You can ask about the beauty of Bangladesh, the beauty of Chittagong, the beauty of Dhaka. He visited all of the big university, the Prime Minister office and the that time Prime Minister office and a lot of big universities. I think definitely we always want to welcome. And according to my experience, because last 15 years I have to leave different countries around the world, I can understand when different culture people work together, it becomes more positive. It brings more positive things for the country, for the economy. So definitely, I think that this is safe country for American. Yes, recently some unstable things happened because of this politics and all of the things. But still, many good peoples we have in Bangladesh. And beside that, my father was freedom fighters, and I hear from my father that in 1971, many of the American people actually support Bangladesh with concert. So definitely, still many people actually think about this concert for Bangladesh and all of the interesting things. So with the California, I'm actually trying to do the same things. So with our conference, maybe the new things we can do together.
Yeah, and you speak English over there, right? English, because here it's Spanish. There you speak English in Bangladesh, right?
Bangladesh, yes, English is our official language. All of the government officials and everyone has to speak in English, but we heavily use Bangla. And Bangla is
right. Okay.
fifth largest communities around the world. We have around 270 million Bengali peoples around the world.
Yeah,
So,
people don't realize
yeah.
how big.
Rick had a question.
Yeah, well, we might want to visit Bangladesh to recruit tech professionals. Right now, the incoming presidential administration is Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are arguing with Trump over, how much we need people from the Indian subcontinent, which you're part of, to come over here and do our tech work.
Yeah, the whole conversation around H-1 visas and stuff like that.
HB1 visas, right?
Yeah, I just want to add one interesting things. In coming April, we have a conference for investment Bangladesh. I think already Bangladesh invite Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Elon Musk security team visit Bangladesh. Maybe coming Aprils, maybe many famous people can maybe visit Bangladesh, one of the tech giant. Dr. Mohammad Yunus actually is highly connected, and he has a lot of good friends from western part of the world. So right now they are visiting. Just recently, NASA chief scientist visit Bangladesh, I think last week. So yeah, many of the North American people visiting Bangladesh, and it can be new beginning for us. Yeah.
Nick, just really quickly and everything, because we've got a person that has not been here for a while and everything. I know he's been following things, but I'm already jealous because Sasha Starr has been spending a large time in Aruba, enjoying that fine weather and that fine company and everything along those lines. So I know he's been having a grand time, and he probably has got a little bit of a tan and got a little bit of a good time going on, even though he's back in Canada. And I was going to tell Sasha that I told him that one of my cousins that follows more of the native side of our family line and everything is actually back home today. So he's actually been, he has a company called Red Eye Supply, but Will is actually visiting his mother from Canada. So he's actually been visiting, and he's not been here. I think last time he was here was for a sad occasion when his father passed and everything. But I know he's glad to be out of the cold of Canada, and who knows, maybe he'll slide down to Aruba as well, since we're only having rain and some mild weather here in North Carolina. But cousin Will is left Canada, but I know you had that great trip in Aruba. So tell us how Aruba was, because I know that it had to be fantastic.
Well, if you would like to describe what is a haven and how close you could get to that, that must be Aruba, because this is probably the closest thing to heaven what exists here on earth. And it's absolutely flawless, peaceful, rich, entertaining, intensing place that you can imagine. And one of the reasons that I'm going lately only to Aruba and nowhere else, I refuse to go nowhere else, because if you have something what's so close to heaven, and the temperature is all year round plus 29, both the air and water, and there are no waves. It's just, it is what, if you want to describe haven and you want to find out what's there in Aruba, that it's not enough to call it a haven, and you cannot find anything, like now. I'm very spoiled in that way. I can easily spot the difference between 5 stars property and 4.5 stars property instantly in 15 minutes. And it's very difficult for me to find something to complain about, something to say this is not right, the last time it was better or something. I just can't do it. The only thing is, next time I will go to Marriott, because what I've discovered that in a casino there, they have a game which used to be very popular 20 years ago, but it's been abandoned by all casinos because it gives player enormous chances, by the name Let It Ride. It's a kind of a poker style game, which gives enormous opportunities to a player. And even three-card poker there is played differently, because the cards of a dealer can also participate in your combination. So, but that's available only in Marriott, in Palace, Rio Palace, where I was staying. They don't have that games. They have other. When I got into Marriott, I was really impressed. And the last few nights I spent only at Marriott. I didn't even go anywhere else. It's fantastic place.
Sounds fantastic and everything. Hey, Jacoby, are you back in the Durham area? Because you had gone up to Canada, and I'm seeing your old setup, so I'm not sure if you're back in Durham or you had that trip to Canada. As I was just telling Sasha, my cousin is down from Canada, but I thought you had gone up to see some family members. But I'm not sure if you're back or not.
Yeah, back to the house now. Yeah, we were up there for just a little while. I mean, right when we had the, I guess, foot or so of snow. So yeah.
Well, while you guys were away, while you were in Aruba and while you were traveling, Jacoby, Donald Trump declared Canada to be part of the United States of America. I don't know if you know that. So we're in process of annexing Canada as we speak.
Canada, Panama, and Denmark, which I don't understand.
Greenland.
Oh yeah, Greenland.
No, Panama, Greenland, and
but
Panama, Greenland.
As our resident deficit hog, how does that lower any prices?
It doesn't, but the thing is, it expands our territory. We're going to take over Canada. We're going to take over Greenland.
Nobody voted to expand the territory, Nick. My question is,
America great again.
How does that?
So this leads to a question for Sasha, which is, the stock market is a little jittery. Should we be worried that Trump and his people aren't going to be the best guardians of the U.S. economy?
No, I don't believe so.
No, they're just taking long.
Okay. Well, what's happened is that Trump has promised so much around while fighting election. Okay, so he won the election, but he continues on all those rambles about Greenland, Canada, Panama. Even his representative on Ukraine and Russia business, Kit Kellogg, he's saying something what even Trump didn't dare to say. He said that Zelensky and Putin should meet in Washington to discuss the peace and the war issues and so on. Even Trump didn't go that far. And it just shows that not only Trump and Musk, but people that they're seeing, they're full of shit, really. That's what it sounds like. And I hope that they can afford to do it before January 20th, because they're all nothings. They're private citizens.
Private individuals.
On January 20th, when he will get into the office, I hope he will be a little bit more
reasonable.
Good and more reasonable in what he is saying. Because right now, it's just awful. And economy, which is doing fantastically well. U.S. in all its history never, ever had such an economy as it has now. So from this point on, this economy can go only down because of the tariffs, because of the other stupid things that people can do. Don't fix something that ain't broken yet. But Trump is already starting to play around with, and I'm really scared that in January, stock market will go down, unlike almost every year. In January, effect where market is going higher. I'm afraid this time it will be different.
Hey, Nick, I got a question for you, and this is actually for Sasha and everybody else on the committee, because it actually came up ironically during Christmas and everything. You're talking about Trump, and Trump's got all these new products and everything. So I just want to know, has anybody gone out and bought any Trump cologne? Because apparently there's a Trump cologne that is out there on the market. So I just want to know if anybody here has either bought some or given any as a regular gift or a joke gift, because apparently it's one of his.
My wife used to be in the cologne business. She used to work for Giorgio Beverly Hills developing products, and she and I both feel that cologne is something left over from the 90s, that people don't have signature smells anymore. I mean, people are at home, on the internet. Nobody cares how you smell when you're on the internet. So I think scents in general are, a declining field.
Yeah,
But the thing is, you say that, but in America, they're on the internet. In Spain, they're outside in the cafes.
All right.
In other
Well,
words,
but
if you
does
go
anybody
outside,
want
they're
to
all in the
smell like
cafes.
Trump in Spain?
Well, no one talks about Trump in Spain. They just don't. He's not a conversation here. They just really don't care. What we talk about is the king of Spain, Felipe. He gets a lot of attention. He was on a lot. Dana, which is the big hurricane that hit Valencia, kind of wiping out the city. That makes news. And of course, the premier of the president of Spain. That gets all the attention. Donald Trump and whatever goes on over there isn't even discussed. It's more or less how are we doing in Valencia is really the thing.
But speaking of things not getting attention and everything like that, I was going to come to AI because apparently one of the California laws, you don't love this, Rick, and everything, but California, which is home to Hollywood and some of the world's largest technology companies, is seeking to rein in the artificial intelligence industry and put some parameters around social media stars. So new laws will come into effect on January 1st. It'll prevent the use of digital replicas of Hollywood actors and performers without their permissions, and it's going to allow the estates of dead performers, so Michael Jackson and them, that their families can sue over unauthorized AI use. So they're also saying that parents who profit from social media posts featuring their children will be required to set aside some earnings for their young influencers. So they just can't take the money and run. So
Those are Jackie Coogan laws based on a child star from 100 years ago whose parents spent all his money, leaving him freaking broke. Sasha had something to say.
Yeah, Sasha.
I want to comment on when you discuss this, the colon issues, the smells of Trumps and so on. Why anybody would be interested to buy something reminding a sense of Trump when it's well-known fact that he was farting during his trials and it was an incredible bad odor. Excuse me. So I don't think it would be a great seller, though.
Well, he's trying to be the Amazon.com, so he'll sell anybody anything as long as he makes a buck.
Sure. Yeah. No, it will sell. It will. Yeah.
Oh, but you know what's big here is the Chinese and the Indian community. I'm surprised Bangladesh isn't here. They set up their shops here, and they sell all their stuff to the Spaniards. But Dr. Sharif, the Bengalis, they aren't here yet. I don't know what's going on. Why you guys don't have shops here? All the Indians and all the Chinese have shops and outlets all throughout Spain. I don't get it, why Bangladesh isn't in Spain yet. But,
I have different experience. I can share my experience when I was in Europe. I visited many countries in the Europe. So let's say in the University of Cambridge in 2012, I was there. So beside this Cambridge Union, there is a restaurant. So I go there, then I eat biryani. Biryani is a very famous food for Indians. So I'm eating biryani and they said it's an Indian biryani. But when I eat it, because I am Bangladeshi and I can understand who cooked the Indian biryani and how to cook the Bangladeshi biryani. I said, no, it's a Bangladeshi biryani. So after 10-15 minutes discussions, the cook actually come and I find, yes, he is actually from Bangladesh. So maybe you are looking around and everybody say I'm from India, but many of the people actually from Bangladesh. So it is one of the, because many few people know about Bangladesh, but many people know about India. So Bengali people feel comfort. They said, oh, I'm from India actually. They are from Bangladesh. But there is almost everything same, but there are something different.
Sharif, I had a question because it was a ban in Australia. It was a ban in a number of other places. And this is actually a legal question for Nick because there are several laws that are in effect now about trying to curtail our social media from our kids and everything. As y'all know, I have two nephews that are 15 and 16, but a Florida law, and I know you used to live there, is going to ban children under 14 from having social media accounts and require parental consent for ages 14 and 15, but the enforcement is being delayed because of lawsuits filed by two associations for online companies. And then a Tennessee law is also requiring parental consent for minors and everything. And I think there's even some laws in California and other places. So are we actually going to find a way to curtail the young people from using social media? And should we be trying to curtail them from using social
Oh,
media?
that's a good question. Dr. Sharif, do they curtail, are they threatening to curtail social media in Bangladesh? Or do people in
No,
Bangladesh get onto
no,
Facebook and LinkedIn, et cetera? What's going on over there?
no. Bangladesh heavily use. Bangladeshi people love social media,
Really?
and they heavily use social media. And what happened when the all of the students go for revolution against the last government? That time they shut down all of the internet's social media for 5 days, because Bangladeshi people actually heavily connected in social media. So last government they're afraid of these things, but new government come and new ICT ministers. He is actually young ICT advisor. So here actually people heavily use social media, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube's, LinkedIn, and everything. Even honestly speaking, I see how people use in California. I think perhaps the Bangladeshi people and Indian people use more social media than California people. So that is the issue. Even though my talent economy, I actually make it popular through the social media. So many of the audience from around the world, even from Bangladesh, they join in the social media. So I believe that social media is a very useful tool for the youth, because the government models in Bangladesh, it's a new government model, the youth government model for this world. It happened because of the social media. In the social media, all of the unethical things and everything actually society exposed by the social media. So I believe that this is helpful. Yes, there are some negative things also we have when we use social media, but I believe the positive thing, we connect with the people and we learn from each other. Even though I connect with LinkedIn, Mr. Nick Palveda, with social media, so it's a good thing, right? It's a good things
It's a
happening
good
through the
thing and
social
everything.
media.
I thought we've got Steve with us as well, and we earlier had brought up this whole notion of the comments that Ramaswamy made about U.S. mediocrity and blaming the U.S. mediocrity culture for tech companies hiring foreign-born engineers. And there's a whole conversation around something that you've talked about before, Steve, which is the H-1B visas and foreign workers. So apparently there is this whole notion that we maybe are hiring too many folks from India and all along those lines. And it's not even the regular, like the migrants coming in from Mexico, but it's some of the high tech migrants that are coming in as well. So, what is your take on this, and what else is going on that you want to talk about? But I did see that, and I knew that that was an issue you had brought up in the past.
Oh, muted. So your voice not coming through.
Yeah, yeah, still not coming through. He's got to do some adjustments. Still don't hear you now. Don't hear you at all. You might have to go back out and in because I don't hear you at all. So we'll move on from that one and everything like that. So,
Can I talk about something while we're waiting on Steve?
yes, definitely.
I've been talking doing interviews about the state of the world for 10 years. And we're with a guy, and we're celebrating the 10th anniversary by looking back on what was different 10 years ago. And 10 years ago was the end of Obama. We were halfway through Obama's term, and the world seemed settled. There was a phrase that was used starting in the 90s, basically called the end of history. That with the fall of the Soviet Union, everything looked cool. It looked like it was the end of war. That there was a book that made this claim that was very popular, and that idea, it had some glitches. There was the crash in 2008. There was the Iraq War, but under Obama, things seemed pretty stable, and no more. Now we are in the midst of disruption. There are a couple of very spectacular wars, and we no longer have an expectation of stability. And history definitely does not seem like it's at an end. Comments?
I mean, yes, we are definitely we've been at an end of stability for a while. And the worst part about it is we just got the US just elected somebody that they wanted to be a quote unquote disruptor. And that's his whole point. Hence the reason why he's already going out there yelling about he wants to take over he wants to take over Canada. He wants to take over Panama. He wants to take over. So that causes more disruption within the world. Then you're talking about the economic markets where this individual who's a quote unquote disruptor, just as Steve was asked the question about what Vivek Ramaswamy has said, which has already upset Trump because Trump wants to focus on the whole immigration of the mass deportation he kept saying that he was going to do. The problem with what Vivek Ramaswamy said in terms of only getting the top of the line, well, we forget that the whole economy is where we have our immigrants that are actually providing tons of help on our economy, from the low-wage workers that come in and work the hotel system or pick the crops and so on and so forth, to the high-wage workers that are in the nurses, doctors, to the tech industry. So Vivek is talking about, hey, we're going to get these entrepreneurs, but we forget that, even in the low-wage workers, that area where the crops are being picked, that's going to affect our economy too, and we need immigrants there as well. And so this disruptor is going to take that away, and that's going to have a huge effect on the economy, which is going to cause a ripple across the whole world. So we're extremely unstable with the unstable genius that we just put back in the office.
Steve,
Dr. Sharif, I just want to let you know, if you keep coming on, I just joined a bunch of Bangladeshi groups, including one which is pretty large. It's called Spoken English Bangladesh. 758,000 members. So I'm going to send this to several of my new Bangladeshi group, as long as you keep coming on. So this way, you'll be extremely well known on Facebook groups in Bangladesh. Because you're right, they're pretty heavy on social media. I had no idea.
Yeah. Actually, this revolution happened because of social media. I want to give credit to the social media. And another thing, just I want to add, because as I'm heavily involved with the American Academy last 10, 12 years, so there is more than $40 billion, according to my chat GPTs, in year 2022-23 academic years, the international students actually inject in US economy. So we should not only think about that the immigrant come for low wages. Immigrant go to USA. Also, they invest a lot of money in US economy. International student is a way of getting a lot of investment in American Academy in USA. It's more than $40 billion. It's not a joke, actually.
Yeah. Well, it's bigger than I thought. So when you do your World Talent Economic Forum, I'm going to do what they call redistribution through the Bangladesh Facebook groups, which are enormous. I mean, you're talking about a lot of people, Sharif, that are members of that particular group. Another thing that since Sasha was sunbathing in Aruba, he probably missed what's going on in New York City, right here, the Big Apple, where there's the FIDE International Blitz and Rapid Tournament, chess tournament, where Magnus Carlsen dropped this morning to 83 as he experienced one loss, several draws. He was the number one rated player, and now he's shrunk all the way down to 83. So there's a lot of fight in the big banana with chess.
Yeah, we'll be having the chess recording later, and we'll be talking about
I
that.
guess you're going to be discussing that later on, aren't you?
Yeah.
Definitely be discussing that. Steve, can you see if you can be heard? Because I don't know if you can be heard. Still don't hear you.
We can see him, but we cannot hear him.
Something's going
Nick.
on.
Gotta get your mic working, buddy.
Nick, here's an even bigger thing that happened. There's now an even bigger rivalry between the NFL and the NBA because the NFL had a Christmas Day game, which is usually set up for the NBA. So now LeBron James is upset, and many people created. The NFL had such a big blowout on Netflix. It's set up for another two. I think the contract is for another two Christmas Day games, which or another two. So 2025 and 2026, which the NFL is the big behemoth. I mean, it's a money making machine, but it's about to steamroll over the NBA.
The NBA had 5 Christmas Day games.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
here's also the
LeBron-
reality. Here's the reality, at least worldwide, when it comes to basketball versus American football. In Spain, they don't give a rat's rear about American football. They believe in basketball, and they actually play a lot of basketball in Spain. But they don't. But American football gets no love here at all. And what gets a lot of love is, of course, soccer, otherwise known as the real football. That's huge over in Spain. I don't know about Bangladesh, whether it's soccer or this weird thing called cricket. But Dr. Reed could give us. Are you into cricket or that weird?
Yeah, yeah. In India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, actually, very, very big market for cricket. Football also very popular. What you say, soccer. This is also very popular, and you know that recently, one of the English premium footballer, he take Bangladeshi citizen because he by born Bangladeshi, but right now he is a citizen and he's playing football, English Premier League. So he's coming back to Bangladesh. So that is very create a positive impact in social media and everything. Yeah, that is the beautiful things around the world, and we can bring all of the interesting things in Pot TV and make it more positive. Sports is very popular. Those who are sportsmen in Bangladesh and in India and Pakistan, even they become. Some of them become political leaders and get all of the big positions and big celebrities. I don't know about USA. Maybe USA also same, but here people are crazy about the cricketers.
Hey, Nick, I got a question for you based on both Mexico and Mozambique and a number of other countries. How worried should we be when there are massive breakouts of these prisons all over the world because the countries are unstable and everything like that? Because I know there was a massive one. I think it was maybe a few months ago. There was in Mexico or in that general area, and we know the cartel is definitely in control of a lot of that one. And then we just had this major breakout with a bunch of folks that are roaming around Mozambique that literally broke out.
I'm glad you asked that question. Why Jatovi's here? We used to have to be very concerned because they break out of their prisons, and then Kamala Harris and Joe Biden would invite them in the United States. But today, that's not going to happen anymore. They're going to stop them at the border, so we don't have to worry about it anymore. But we would have to worry about it if there was a Biden-Harris administration.
Just to push back on that a little bit, Nick had no complaints when Donald Trump negotiated with the Taliban to release 5,000 prisoners who were considered terrorists. But you're worried about Mozambique?
So we should be more, if we're worried about people we have more prisoners in the U.S. than in any other. We have 2 million people in jails and prisons. We should worry about our own folks than.
Yep. Yeah. And honestly, American-born citizens create more or have committed more crimes than any immigration base or any immigrant base that has come through. And they're even native-born citizens commit more crimes than even immigrants born in this country.
Also, I think I answered your question.
Also, crime is like cologne. It peaked in the 90s, and it's hard to have street crime when everybody's at home on the internet.
But the thing is, as I think Rick pointed out perfectly, our biggest corporation is prison. And it's sad, and it's only going to get worse with the incoming administration because they're going to revitalize the for-profit prison system.
Well, they've got a problem.
Objection, Your Honor. This calls for speculation by the witness.
All right, but here's the thing. It's been estimated. It's been estimated that if they want to deport 1 million people a year, that's going to add $88 billion to the budget because If you're going to deport people, you have to catch them. You need people to do that. You have to hold them while they're processed, which means you have to build big new facilities. We only have enough prison facilities to hold 2 million people. If you're going to deport 1 million people, that means you have to increase your incarceration facilities by almost 50%.
Objection. Calls for speculation by the witness.
All right, how are you going to kick out 1 million people without spending a ton of money?
It's speculation, you know.
It's not
We don't know
speculation.
if
It's
that's
simple
what's gonna
math.
happen or not. You guys are trying to create a crystal ball, looking into the future. And making
There
decisions.
is one way. We made 1 million people leave in 2008. The number of illegal immigrants in the U.S. declined by 1 million because we tanked our economy, and this caused a lot of people to
Look, I gave the solution. You charge them a fine, you make them pay a fine, you do a background check, and you're done with it.
Well,
You
since
know?
you guys
And
are
then
saying-
if
Wait a
they don't
second,
wanna
wait a
pay
second,
the
Nick,
fine,
here's a
and they
pushback on-
violate the law, then they do need to be deported.
But-
So here's the fine. You pay
Nick.
10 grand, that's your fine. Do a background check, you're clean, you're in.
Hold on.
Do a background check, you're dirty, you're out. Oh, I don't want to do any of that, then deport them.
We've already been through this, Nick. Immigrants, when they immigrate to the U.S., they pay money to immigrate to the U.S. There is actually a
I
bill.
don't want to hear about
We
it.
actually have to pay. But the problem is not the fact that, well, one, yes, the amount of money that they have to pay is expensive. But then on top of that, the fact that they can't get court dates, they can't get any type of help to immigrate to the U.S., regardless if you charge them $10,000 or $10 million.
Hey, listen, for
get to
10
the
grand,
bill
you can hire
collector,
a lot of
if
administrative
you
law
can't get to
judges.
the bill
It'll all
collector, you
get
still
done,
can't
it'll
pay the
be
bill.
very profitable.
So you're gonna be held.
All right, here's a
Very
cheap
profitable, and hopefully
cheap
MAGA will
way.
figure this one out.
Here's a cheap way to get people to self-deport. You tell people
You don't want them to deport. You want their money. Why do you want them to deport?
Well,
You want their
Trump,
money.
we're supposed to be getting rid of all these people. So if you want to Trump wants to get rid of 1 million a year. All he has to do is say, if you leave America, we'll set up an account back in the country you came from, say Nicaragua. You go back home, we'll put $5,000 in a bank account for you to go back home. That would, for 1 million people, that would cost $5 billion compared to $88 billion to force them out.
But see, that's a typical Democratic solution. Spend my money on immigration. I want the Republican solution. Oh no, make money on immigration. Rather than give them 5,000 to leave, they can pay me 10,000 to stay. I like my idea of that.
But you're
Yeah,
not
but
doing
then-
it. Nick. You're going to end up paying more than you collect. You can say,
No,
for
you
example,
won't. For 10 grand, administrative law
here's an
judge will take
analogy.
care of it for like a grand.
here is
Come
an
on,
analogy.
Jacoby.
Here's an analogy.
An ALJ will do it for
say-
like $1,000.
No, here's an analogy for you. Say everyone on this panel, right? Everyone on this panel, we're going to give every single one. If you can put down $5 right now, each one of you gets a G5 jet to fly anywhere you want to, right? We're going to give you a G5 jet. All you got to do is pay $5. Do you realize that it's going to cost more to get the airplane to you than that $5? So the immigration system where you're already going to say, okay, well, you're going to pay this amount of money or else we're going to deport you.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to cost you more money to actually hunt down, find, get the actual bill payment. And even if you get the bill payment, to deport the person is going to cost you more than you're actually charging the person.
Oh, so wait, then we'll charge 20,000 per person.
You
That's
still
still
get
very
money.
good.
If you really want to run this racket, Nick, you
Jacoby,
got to do what bookies do and loan sharks do, which
But
is
10,000 is
you
not
never
enough.
pay off the debt. You keep
You just
it.
made it 20,000. Thank you very much.
No, but
20 grand if you want.
the way
Wait, Sharif has something. By the way, Sharif, I can get you
Yeah.
in the United States through an HB1
Yeah.
visa. What
No.
do you want, Con?
This is very interesting topic what you are discussing, and it touched my heart. Maybe USA has millions of people, and USA want to deport them from USA. They have valuable things. They have experience from USA. They have to trust it. On the other hand, what I'm trying to develop with this since with 3.0, if USA or your foundation, if you have different rich foundations in North America, on the other hand, if you have a contract with the country, let's say there are some people you want to deport them from USA and they are Bangladeshi people, so you have an agreement with the Bangladesh government, like we want to send your people. He can be social entrepreneurs in your country, and we may give them some loan. On the other hand, Bangladesh government give them 50 or 80% loan to use their experience, what they get from USA, and they may solve the social problem. Maybe they solve the waste management related problem or water problems, or help them to develop as a social entrepreneur, which is very, very needed in the emerging economy. Maybe this can be a constructive solution for USA and Bangladesh, and all of the people you want to deport, and this maybe give them a social securities for in their country, and this will be helpful for them also. But we have to think in a constructive way about the people. So definitely this is very big issues for USA. I can understand, and definitely USA government want to solve this problem. People want to solve this problem. This is their right. On the other hand, they are human. You cannot kick them out or whatever it is. But I think that you may go for bilateral agreement with the countries, and between USA. USA has a lot of philanthropic organizations. On the other hand, every country has their own fund and financial things. And this way we can develop better world, right? We cannot make people life problematic, but maybe they will be happy to engage with this kind of program, and they will go back to their own country. That may be a solution. I don't know. Maybe you can discuss. You have all of the big relationship, but I think that is called talent economy. When people from abroad, they come back to Bangladesh, or they come back to India, or come back to Malaysia, I see that they become more productive for their economy. You know, that Dr. Mohammad Yunus take decision. After my study, I come back to Bangladesh and he build up the new thing. He win Nobel Prize. Or many entrepreneurs I see that when they come back to their own country, they become very productive. So I believe that if it's a political statement, this is different. But if you want to make good business, make a good productive things, positive way, you can send these people under a program. That may be one solution. That is called talent economy. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, well, looks like Kim has just arrived.
I just wanted to say Merry Christmas. My internet's doing the Herkle-Durkle. In other words, it's sleeping in today. It won't come up. But been listening. Thank you guys for joining us over the holidays. It's been fun listening to you and, seeing you guys all these years. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Mark, I'm sorry I missed the Kwanzaa yesterday, but
Don't we have Diwali also, something like that?
what?
Diwali or something like that?
Wally.
Yeah.
There's
I don't know.
all these different
Hurkling and
holidays.
Dirkling means it's sleeping in. That's Irish. So
Okay,
my new word for
whatever.
the year. So anyway, everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Many blessings to all of you.
You too.
Grazie.
You too. Thank you.
Mark.
Oh, we're at the hour.
That
We gotta
wraps
go.
up this particular show. It's about time to get on out of here.
It was a great
Wait
conversation.
a minute. We gotta go. Wait a minute. Jacoby has
I
something
can't
to
do
say.
anything, but I've been trying to log in, but my internet isn't working.
Oh,
So
wait.
I'm not logging in.
Jacoby has something to say, but you know what?